I read Where the Red Fern Grows as a teen. When the dog Old Dan died after saving Billy from a mountain lion. Followed by the other dog Little Ann of a broken heart. I was inconsolable. Send me out with a bang. Sergeant Avery Johnson. Not technically a death, but when Wall-E's memory banks got fried at the end, I felt that in my soul. Thankfully Pixar would never leave us on a note like that, but damn. That little robot moved me so much. Wash in Serenity. I am a leaf on the wind. Hank from Breaking Bad. Dude started the series as a stereotypical meathead that I thought I was gonna hate, but had one of the biggest character arcs besides Walt and Jesse. By the end I was rooting pretty hard for him. Imagine finding out someone close to you was a major drug lord if you were a D agent IRL. That would have to be awful and embarrassing. Mordin Solus in Mass Effect 3. Had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong. You hardly notice, but since they leave Rivendell, he and Merry and Pippin obviously have a real close friendship. He is teaching them how to fight and they are roughhousing around after they first leave. He is the one helping them in the snows of the mountain pass and is talking about going back because going on will be the death of the hobbits. He grabs both of them and jumps the gap in the stairs when running from the Balrog. He asks for a moment for them for pity's sake after Gandalf dies, and it's when they are in the most trouble he literally comes out of nowhere to sacrifice himself trying to save them for the best scene in the first movie. God, Jackson did such a great job with the LOTR trilogy. So much depth and character packed so wonderfully into the movies. Sam the Onion Picker in Holes. My man just wanted that lady to be his wife so they could live together in onion and peach-filled bliss, and goddammit she wanted it too. Still makes me sad to this day. Littlefoot's mum in The Land Before Time. I posted this recently, but when I first saw it as a kid it was the first time that I realized that my parents could die. That thought had never even really occurred to me at that point. Even now as an adult, that scene where he thinks he sees her but it's just his shadow and the narrator says, "Then Littlefoot knew for certain he was alone," still gets to me. How has no one mentioned Bubba from Forrest Gump? You're lying if you say you didn't cry. Spike in Cowboy Bebop. Holy shit. I'm gonna carry that weight. Has to be the Jewish soldier from Saving Private Ryan when he gets stabbed in chest. The feeling of rage when the guy on the stairs just freezes and does nothing. The utter helplessness you feel for the Jewish guy and the hate you feel for the German soldier they freed earlier in the film. Even just typing it makes the feelings come back. Really powerful scene. Cedric Diggory. Harry Potter books 1 to 3 were all sunshine and rainbows, but the 4th is where it started to get dark. My 12-year-old self was also not expecting his death because it happened so quickly, and he was only a student. I had to ride my bike to the park to process his death. And this was while I never particularly rooted Team Harry for his character. Ned Stark. You watch the entire first season of GOT thinking he will be the main character and then he gets his damn head chopped off. It shocked me. 99, a deformed clone trooper who couldn't serve in the Clone Wars and just worked as a janitor instead. When he sacrificed himself, that hit me. That was the first book to make me literally cry. It was my sister's book she had to read for school but she couldn't get into it. So I read it for her and I finished it in the car on the way to see a movie, and halfway there I was in the backseat bawling my eyes out and my parents were freaking out because they couldn't figure out what was going on. Summarizing the book for my sister was one of the hardest things I had to do at the time, and could barely keep it together. She was so confused. Noble 6 in Halo Reach. I never really experienced death of my characters before, so it really stuck with me fighting to the very bitter end and just having to watch him die. All alone. Knowing the lore of previous Halo stuff and his particular Spartan project. 6 didn't even die with his friends. He went out solo in a glorious but futile display of defiance. Made me sick to my stomach at the time. Spartans never die. Most of the deaths of Nobel Team in Halo Reach were pretty bad. Cat's was so sudden and unexpected. Jorge, where he sacrifices himself to blow up the Corvette after pushing you out. Him thinking he saved the planet, but as you're falling through the atmosphere several more arrive showing it was for more or less nothing. Those two were particularly bad for me. Jorge blew up one of the largest ships in the Covenant fleet. Thing was a supercarrier. They were doing a truly valiant thing. And then immediately after a truly noble sacrifice, not just several more, nearly 350 more. Reach was desperation in action. 10 out of 10. This one right here. My roommate never played Halo, so I decided to play through the saga with him on Legendary, and I saved Reach for last. It was beautiful. He was shocked and so sad. The Spartans become characters you feel deeply for, and to watch Six ultimately give his life for a lost cause is so sad after fighting to the bitter end and losing all his friends. This is weird, but Ygritte from GOT. When she said, "We should have stayed in the cave," it really hit home. My GF at the time and I were on a break and going through a bunch of stuff, and that episode made me want to go back to our little cave one last time. As a kid it was definitely Mufasa. That part of the film haunted me for months. Now Yondu's death makes me bawl, Romanoff's makes my heart break, and Danny's death in Pearl Harbor is a very poignant one for me. I think any death where the actor died in real life, because the actors aren't just saying goodbye to the character but the actor as well, and that emotion really comes through and makes it really hard to watch. Think the main example of this is Finn from Glee. That episode was so hard to watch. Narancia Giga from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. His dad left him when his mother died, his friend betrayed him and threw him in jail where he got an eye infection while hearing rumors it was the same one his mum got. Then he got friends and his eye got better too. But when they tried to fight the boss, the main villain stuffed him into a fence. Needless to say I cried.